Hi, this is Robert Dawson from Meta 7, and today we're going to walk through the Oracle Bare Metal Cloud and compare that with the Oracle Public Cloud for those that are making the transition. So one of the key differences is when we actually go into the actual Oracle Bare Metal Cloud, we're going to physically a different location. The data centers are distributed differently across various locations. And so when you actually go into it, there's kind of an integration that hasn't yet happened with the Oracle Bare Metal Cloud and the Oracle Public Cloud. It probably will happen at some point, but right now it hasn't been fully integrated. One of the interesting things around the Oracle Cloud, the Public Cloud, is it deals with the concept of domains. And so domains are really tied to your order. So when you order an actual set of products with the Oracle Public Cloud, those domains are actually how your products are kind of allocated. Sometimes Oracle may give you a standard domain, and then they'll also give you a test domain. You can actually alter the name of these domains to be something reflective of your organization, but for the most part, most people stay with the standard domain. There is still the single sign-on capability within the domains with the public cloud, but everyone kind of is familiar with the standard public cloud dashboard. We're very comfortable with this. This is kind of the one view of all our services, whether they're PaaS, SaaS, infrastructure as service. All of these services are within the same space, right? So when we go to the actual Oracle Bare Metal Cloud, we've got quite a different login. The login for the Oracle Bare Metal Cloud is really tied to a tenancy concept, right? So we have a multi-tenant concept. All these are bare metal tenants, physical servers in the Bare Metal Cloud. We'll talk about virtualized servers because virtualization is still a part of the Bare Metal Cloud, although the name doesn't point us in that direction. The other key difference within the Bare Metal Cloud is password complexity. Password similarity and history is strictly enforced. So you're going to have to get used to, again, really locking down and getting a disciplined password policy. Going into the Bare Metal Cloud, if we kind of jump into the main page, this is our dashboard. It's fundamentally not much here. There's no really centralized view. They may put something in this space at some point later. The one thing I think is important for people to know is that they do have two regions online. So we've got the Ashburn facility, which is in Virginia, and the Phoenix facility. All of our assets right now are in Phoenix, but if you are actually licensed to manage both regions, you can actually put stuff in both regions, and we'll kind of go into that. When you shift this gives you your view, and so you'll have compartments and compute nodes that aren't in Phoenix that are in Ashburn. The fundamental component, or the driving component of the Bare Metal Cloud, is this concept called compartments. And so in the Oracle Public Cloud, we had this concept called domains, but in the Public Cloud, we have a tenancy, and inside of that tenancy are what we call compartments. And compartments are really where we tie both the networking components as well as the policies, the users, and the group. Everything kind of works within a compartment paradigm. So I would say one of the things you want to make sure you do is think through your compartment strategy, because that's going to be permanent. These compartments are permanent, and so you have to realize that once you build a compartment, you don't have an opportunity to remove it. It's a permanent object. When we compare how instance creation is done within the Oracle Public Cloud versus the Bare Metal Cloud, there's really a different paradigm shift. The Bare Metal Cloud comes from the background of your strong infrastructure background. You understand virtualized networking. You basically probably have worked in AWS or other cloud environments, and so it kind of works off the assumption that there's a lot that you already know, and it doesn't suffer fools too easily. So it's not going to give you very many hints when you try to create environments and you don't have the proper components. The other interesting thing to realize is that as I shift between regions, as I go between Phoenix and Ashburn, I have the capability to create components in both of the regions in which I'm managed. So compartments, I said, are the key and they're the foundation. Before you actually build anything in an environment, you have to build the networking first. And so if we think about from a strategy perspective, you walk in a data center, you build a network out first, and that networking basically allows you then to build components, bare metal components, underneath it. So networkings are really the fundamental start of it. On the public cloud, we didn't have this tied requirement. Networks came along for the ride and they gave you some default networks, but you have to think through your network strategy here in terms of understanding both your networks, your route tables, your internet gateways, and all of these components. We'll get into these components later in the following lectures, but the real caveat here is you better understand a little bit about networking before you sit down and actually build out your environment. When we go back to talking about building out compute instances, this is really the sweet spot about bare metal cloud. The bare metal instance performance and capability, and then of course the ability to do virtualization. So when we launch an instance, we'll just call this demo meta 7, we kind of walk into the concept of availability domains. And so Oracle has a concept of there are 3 availability domains inside of each data center. And I think these are physically isolated, but they're within the same geo region, meaning they're not across the city, but they're physically separate. And these domains kind of give you the ability to have resiliency within one geolocation. And then we have kind of the ability to understand the bare metal images or the virtualized images. So let's take Oracle Linux for example. We're going to have some different components. People that think about the bare metal think you only have the option of getting a 36 core server, but you actually can use Oracle virtualization. You can get 1, 2, 4, 8, or 16 core virtualized server, as well as you can get a 4, 8, or 16 dense I/O server that's going to be using NVRAM. So we'll go with the standard virtualization server of Linux, and that's 2 core. Now this is not bare metal in the sense that you don't own this whole server, you're not paying for it, but you're using the same bare metal hardware. So this is a customer that says, I just need a VM. It doesn't need necessarily to be dedicated hardware. Obviously, you're going to have to pick your network that you're tied to, as well as a subnet. Host names are options. And then obviously your SSH keys. So a lot of the SSH key libraries are very similar to what we've seen in other environments where you're actually able to upload your SSH keys. That hasn't really changed very much. We're going to jump real briefly to the database component, and we'll talk about the database systems because that's one of those key differentiators within the Oracle bare metal cloud.